Long ago, the people of Israel lived in Egypt. At first, it was a place of safety, a land where they could grow, build families, and live their lives in peace. But over time, things changed. A new king rose in Egypt, a pharaoh who did not remember the past. He looked at the Israelites and saw their numbers growing. Fear began to fill his heart. What if they become too strong, he thought. So he made a decision, one that would change their lives forever. The Israelites would no longer live freely. Their lives became controlled. Their days became harder, and their strength was tested. Day after day, they woke up to the same routine: work, effort, exhaustion. The sun above them burned, and the weight of each day grew heavier. But in the middle of it all, they cried out, not to men, but to God. And God heard them. Far away from Egypt, in a quiet wilderness, there lived a man named Moses. He was no longer in a palace. He lived simply now, walking through dry land, guiding sheep, living a quiet and unnoticed life. It seemed like his story had slowed down, until one day, something unusual caught his attention. A bush was on fire, but it was not burning away. Moses stepped closer, drawn by what he saw. Then a voice called his name. "Moses! Moses!" It was God. God spoke to him with purpose. "I have seen what is happening to my people. I have heard their cries. I am sending you to bring them out." Moses hesitated. He felt unsure. He questioned himself. But God assured him, "I will be with you." So Moses returned to Egypt, not as a prince, but as a messenger. He stood before Pharaoh and spoke clearly, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh refused. Again and again the message was given, and again Pharaoh stood firm. Then signs began to appear across the land. The air shifted. The environment changed. Moments came that could not be ignored. Still, Pharaoh resisted, until the moment came when everything changed. Finally, he gave the command, "Go." And just like that, the journey began. The Israelites gathered what they could carry. Families stayed close together. Children held tightly to their parents. They stepped forward into the unknown. The road ahead was uncertain, but they were moving, and they were not alone. They were guided by a presence they could not fully explain, but could clearly see. Then, suddenly, everything changed. They reached a place they could not cross. In front of them, the sea. Behind them, a growing sound, movement, approaching. The situation became clear. They were trapped. Fear spread quickly among the people. Voices rose. "What do we do now?" The question echoed through the crowd. But Moses did not panic. He stood still, calm, steady, and he spoke. "Do not be afraid. Stand still and watch what God will do." Then God gave a command. Moses lifted his staff, and the wind began to move, not gently, but with power. The waters began to shift, slowly at first, then more strongly, until something impossible began to happen. The sea opened, water moved to both sides, and a path appeared in the middle, dry ground, where there had been none. For a moment, no one moved. Then, someone took a step, then another, and soon, they were walking, step by step. They moved forward. The ground beneath them was dry. The water around them stood firm. Some walked in silence, some in wonder, but all of them moved forward. Behind them, the movement continued. The army had arrived. They saw the path and followed. But something was different. Their movement slowed. Their progress struggled. The same path was not the same experience. And then, the moment came. Moses reached the other side. The people had crossed. God spoke again. Moses lifted his staff once more. and the waters returned. The path closed. The moment ended. The Israelites stood in awe, looking back at what had just happened. Then joy erupted. They sang, danced, and praised God for his power and mercy. What once seemed impossible had become reality. They had witnessed a miracle, a path through the sea itself. Moses and the people remembered that day forever. It was proof that when God is with his people, even the impossible can be overcome. Moral lesson of the story. Sometimes, life traps us between impossible choices. There seems to be no way forward, no escape. But the same God who parted the sea for Moses is still able to make a way for you. Lord, when life surrounds me with impossible walls, open a way for me and lead me safely through. Amen.